Here in Woodridge, the VFW enjoys no greater friendship than that of Mayor Bill Murphy. Please join me now with a warm welcome for our mayor. Thanks, Bill.
Good afternoon. It's a somber occasion for all of us to gather today to observe National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day 2009. Today we honor all that served in World War II. The day that will live in infamy doesn't live in the hearts and minds of many Americans as it should because of the passage of time. The passage of time, 68 years tomorrow, has diluted the nation's emotional connection to that Saturday or Sunday morning when the Japanese forces launched a surprise attack on the American naval base at Pearl Harbor. Today, 68 years later, we still remember. We have not forgotten because of such observances as we held here today. Over 2,300 American servicemen died. Over 1,000 were wounded. 8 battleships were damaged. 5 were sunk. 3 light cruisers, 3 destroyers, 3 smaller boats were lost along with 188 aircraft. The biggest loss being the USS Arizona with over 1,100 servicemen and women killed. Well, today, 68 years later, we still remember. We remember those that lost their lives. We remember those who survived but are no longer with us. We remember those who served and are still with us, enjoying the freedom that we all enjoy because of their efforts. They were described, as Tom Brokaw, as the world's greatest generation, and appropriately so. It is because of all those that served in World War II and those who served in subsequent wars that we have the freedom that we all enjoy today. And it's because of such ongoing observances, such as this hosted by the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post of Woodridge, that the importance of such observances is carried on. By way of closing, let me share in part the proclamation that was issued by President Barack Obama. President Franklin D. Roosevelt declared December 7, 1941, as a date which will live in infamy, when over 3,500 Americans were killed or wounded. The surprise attack by the Imperial Japanese on Pearl Harbor was an attempt to break the American will and destroy the Pacific Fleet. They succeeded in doing neither. On National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, we pay tribute to the brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, and we honor all who selfishly served our nation at home and abroad during World War II. On a tranquil Sunday morning, as war raged around the globe, the attack on Pearl Harbor effectively ended American isolation, thrusting our nation into action. Japanese airplanes had launched an unprovoked assault on our military with intense firepower, and our service members valiantly answered the call. They defended their positions, they fought back against their attackers, and they cared for the wounded. In the darkest hour, men and women who had considered themselves ordinary found within themselves the ability to do something extraordinary. And in the months and years that followed, Americans across the country responded to Pearl Harbor with firm resolve, many joining our armed forces to defend our shores and our freedom. This courage is not uncommon in the story of America. The stories of heroes, many of whom are here today, whose sacrifice and valor speak to their love of comrades and country, and whose goodness guides our quest for lasting peace. Today and every day, we draw strength from the moment when the best among us defended an island and a nation from the onslaught of tyranny and forever altered the course of history. President Barack Obama concluded by saying, "I encourage all Americans to observe this solemn day of remembrance with appropriate ceremonies and activities." Thank you, and God bless America.
Were subsequently awarded several posthumously to American fighting men for actions that day. This was an unprecedented amount for honor one day in our country's history. I think I had read this once before. Sorry. Those men include Captain Marin S. Benyon, Captain Casson Young, Ensign Francis C. Flaherty, Ensign Herbert C. Jones, Chief Boatswain Edwin J. Hill, Rear Admiral Isaac C. Kidd, Lieutenant Jackson C. Ferris, Chief Radioman Thomas J. Reeves, Machinist Donald K. Ross, Machinist Mate First Class Robert R. Scott, Chief Water Tender Peter Tomich, Captain Franklin Van Valkenburg, Lieutenant John W. Finn, Captain Samuel G. Fuqua, and Seaman First Class James R. Ward. The Navy thought so highly of these men that all but the last three had a naval vessel named after them. Thank you.
I'm now going to play two verses of the Navy hymn. The first is instrumental, the second is the Navy chorus. While the Navy chorus verse is being played, we will present the wreath at the American flag. Veterans, present arms. Order, arms. Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. Because of their dedication to duty, we still enjoy the freedoms we ask that, following in their footsteps, we may continue in your service until you're some with them and you forever. Amen. Amen. Cover and be seated.